Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner, where systems matter and both personal and professional learning and development is beneficial for everyone and essential for some. As always, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Let's get started.
So we're going to first dive into customers, dealing with customers and different things like that with being a business owner. So the first question is the customer always right?
No.
No.
But mostly right.
Okay.
Right? So we call them POIs, right? Because we have, in our service business, we have clients.
Yeah.
And then in our, brick and mortar, we have customers.
Okay.
And then we have our employees, our self-employed independent contractors, our freelance. So I just blanketly call them POIs, people of interest.
Got it.
And so, for the most part, the customer's right with one exception. If you're bashing on one of my employees or somebody that's in my fold, so to speak, and you're wrong, I'm gonna let you have it. Right. Now, if you're on to me, go ahead. I don't care. Even if you're 100% wrong, to a point. Eventually, I'll be like, look, if you'd like to go out into the alley and have some little tea time, we can do that.
Right.
But no, I mean, the customer's mainly right because if they're agitated, there's usually a reason for it.
Right.
And remember, people's perceptions are their realities.
Yeah.
So even if you could, what I call defend, deflect, explain, rationalize, clarify, throw a rock in the bush, or blame somebody else, I tend not to do that. Yeah. And I teach my people the same thing. There's a reason usually, and it may not have anything to do with us. Maybe their goldfish died the night before. Right. And we're people of emotion, and I say, are you going to react out of emotion, or will you respond out of intellect? So we teach our people to respond out of intellect. Yeah. And even in my responses that look like they're not responses, they're responses. They're controlled and whatnot, right? Absolutely. Because I'm not going to allow any customer to puppet me. Right. Nobody's sticking their hand up my butt. That's out, right? Not you either, doctor.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Has there ever? I'm sure there's been instances where the customer was bashing on the employee, right? And it was like, no, that's not right. What about when the person was bashing on your employee and they were right? What does that situation look like?
So usually what I'll do is if I'm there, I'll take over and, get them calmed down. I have a bunch of things that I do. I have a continuum of things that I've systematized over the years, usually get them to sit down. It calms them. If they're raising their voice, you understand, broken record, different things like that. Yeah. And so I'll try to be supportive of the internal POI, meaning my employee or whatever, as far as the public face goes. Now, afterwards, I'll bring them in and reprimand them. But I'll try. So I have a saying that you praise in public and you reprimand in private. Right. And, it doesn't always work that way, right? Right, absolutely. Or sometimes it's just a game. Like, I'm going to get on that, to make them settle down. Right. And then later on, I'll be like, don't worry about it. Yeah. So, it's a game, right? I mean, that's why I am coach. Yeah. It's a game, right? Life's a game. And if you look at it like that, there's different nuances.
Absolutely. When it comes to growing your business, is it better to focus on existing customers or grabbing outside customers?
Yes. And the next one you would ask me is,
okay.
Sure. I mean, right? I mean, the customer or the client that you get in, if you're doing good by them, which you should be, they're going to repeat business, right? And that's much easier than to go out and try to find somebody new. Yeah. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing both. So I tell people all the time, I'm the DJ. I'm working 3 turntables. My existing, customer, client base, all of that. And then I'm coming back and I'm saying, so there's the existing. What about the new that I can see? But what about way over here, what I call branding, in the macro? What about over here too? Yeah. People I don't even know yet. Right. So I'm working 3 turntables. So I don't know about all the DJs out there, but if they're working 1 or 2 turntables, I'm like, I might have to jump in and be DJ Coach Little Z in the house.
Got it. Okay. So, knowing you and knowing how your business is working, things like that, some of your business have been in rough neighborhoods, rough areas, rough people. Yeah. And you have a very little, if any, problems with your customers.
Yeah.
And so I would attribute that to how you train your employees to deal with the customers. So I know that comes back to having a system. And so could you explain that system to them, what you do to help the employee deal with customers?
Yeah, so I may have to come back and ask you a part of that question again, because there's a lot going on in my head about that.
Yeah.
So as you know, I'm into prevention versus intervention.
Right.
So one of the brick and mortars we had was in the roughest, toughest area in Bakersfield. And so people don't know this. So I get to look real good, right?
Yeah.
But they don't know I went and found the head gangbanger down there. And I said, hey, I need to talk with you.
Right.
And I said, we're going to treat you guys with respect and good. And there was a homeless population, all of that.
Yeah.
But I don't need any trouble. So if I have trouble, I know I can't control these guys. But I know you can. Right? And so that was the first thing. I call it psychological warfare.
Okay.
It was like, I'm not admitting to this in any way, shape, or form, but when I was teaching special day in middle school, my class was perfect. I mean, it was just, everybody had an understanding. We had our normed agreements. They followed the rules. It was prevention. Everybody knew what was going on.
Right.
Well, this guy came in, I call him the 2%er, and he had the eyes of a Charles Manson. He was glazed over. And so he was in and out of jail. I mean, he was a hardened criminal by the time he was in 8th grade. So this is like 5 months into a certain year. And I couldn't get through to this kid for nothing, right? Okay. And so I was like, man, this guy has just turned up. Turned it upside down, right? We were in the trailer, by the way. He literally turned the trailer upside down. And so, I'm not proud of this moment, but it's very effective. So I coached as well. And so I went to the biggest kid in my class, Marcus. Yeah. Thank you, Marcus. And I said, Marcus, I'm not telling you what to do. Yeah. But this guy right here is messing my whole world up. Yeah. And I said, he's probably not going to be here by the end of the month because he'll be back in jail. But in the meantime, I need some help. Yeah. I don't know what he did. Yeah. But I know that fool came in, that Charles Manson guy, he came in and was like this for the next 4 days until he went back to jail. Right? Yeah. And so, there's a lot of preventative work that behind the scenes that people are not aware of. Absolutely. Okay, so there's that. Then the second part of it is what I would also call prevention, but on the bottom side is we do a lot of training. And, we talk about, hey, it's probably not personal. Right? Yeah. It's not like you versus them, which we can all get like, right? Like what'd you say? Yeah. That kind of stuff. And so we have a training that we have a lot of trainings that we do. Yeah. We train around systems. Can you imagine that? And that's one of the systems is how do you deal with difficult people or difficult, clients or whatever. Yeah. And how do you talk them down? As simple as the broken record. I understand you're upset, sir, but this is our policy. I understand, sir, but this is our policy. Yeah. I understand, sir. And usually by the third one, parents, whoever, they'll stop because they know you're not going away. Right. Right. Yeah. So how do you stand your ground without backing up? Because like anything else, like an animal in the wilderness, if you show a little fear, they're going to attack. Right. Yeah. And so we teach them, even with some of the hardened criminals, that we're like, this is how we roll. Right. Yeah. And so, you don't put yourself in harm's way if that's what it comes down to. But there's a lot of things you can do by handling yourself in the correct manner to prevent. Right. Right. And so then if you have to intervene, it just depends on the circumstance. So I do a lot of things with Cora where people have, I want to help people. Right. Yeah. So I get a lot of requests, a lot of requests. So I'll answer. Well, one of the ones that, got the most views or whatever, I don't really look at views or whatever, but it happened to come up that, hey, this is your, whatever they said. Oh. Somebody had asked, I can't remember the exact question, but it was something like, talk to me about a very difficult customer that you dealt with. And so one of the brick and mortars we had, I just happened to be in there. And the employee of ours, this gal, she was ex-gangbanger, but she was also one of my ex-athletes. And I mean, she was tough. Like, she would whip dudes. Yeah. Right? Well, she comes up to me and she's like, hey, I got to go address this gal in the back. And I'm a little nervous. And I'm like, I'm thinking, like, how big's this girl, right? Because if she's nervous, I'm like, maybe I should be nervous. So she said, I want you to have my back. because they know I won't go and enable them. I won't go do their job for them.
Right.
I'll support them, but I'm not going to go do your job.
Yeah.
Right? So we go around the corner. Gargantuan woman. Right? Made Barkley look like a little old fool, right?
Okay.
Like 6'5", just teesh. I'm like, oh boy, hopefully this goes well. Well, Cece, she's cool. She doesn't play. And she said, hey, you're going to put that shit. The gal put a shirt or a couple of shirts she was stealing. Right? So she goes, you're going to put that shirt back or we're going to have a problem. So that's one of the things, you have to read the situation.
Yeah.
Like with that gal, you're going to be like, okay, well, I'd like to have tea now. Now, I would like to talk to you about the stuff that you haven't, right? Come on now. Yeah. This is a hardened criminal. So she let her have it. And that girl looked at Cece.
Yeah.
But you can tell with people usually maybe I don't want to go there. So she starts yapping on the way out.
Right.
So I don't know. It just struck me bad that day.
Yeah.
And so I went after this gal.
Yeah.
And I was, usually I wouldn't do that.
Right.
But I went after and started yapping. I said, oh, you're going to be a thief and an asshole?
Right.
I said, I don't think so. And so I started going and Cece grabs me, and I'm like, body, whatever. What are you going to do? You got to get them out of the store, but
absolutely.
You can't really touch them, and stuff unless they're, going to, cause harm for themselves or others.
Right.
So I apologize to people in the store. Sorry,
Right.
But it just kind of got under my skin. I'm like, wait a minute, so you're a thief and an a-hole?
Right.
Like, that doesn't click with me.
Right, doesn't.
So, there's kind of the alpha and the omega. Maybe I don't need what was the question? I answered probably more than you would want. But anyway, I'd tell that funny story because they seemed I didn't think it was funny. I was like,
you were.
Yeah, I'm like, I got my adrenaline was up with gargantuan woman,
Yeah.
But anyway, it's funny.
So talking about, bad customers, or not bad customers, but tougher customers for sure. What is your favorite type of customer?
The people that buy a bunch. I like the ones that are a little inquisitive. You can tell like maybe they've done a little history or research or, on whatever it is that they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so then they come in and they ask some real pertinent questions.
Yeah.
And, those are fun because then you get to really, especially as sales, which I think we'll do a video on straight sales. Mm-hmm. There's a way to sell and there's a way not to sell. Yeah. And so if they've already done all of that, then the selling part becomes even easier.
Right.
Because they already have some baseline knowledge. So to me, those are the guys that I really like. Or the people that seem on the other end, they're just desperate and they don't know. They know they need something. They don't know what it is. You can tell they're frazzled. Like we've talked about before, like the new mother.
Yeah.
Right. She needs a radio or, she needs something, but she's, sleep deprived, she's kind of whacked out.
Right.
So to me, as long as I'm helping them, I'm cool with it. But those are the two extremes that I like the most.
Got it. So this is another story that I'd like you to tell the audience.
Uh-oh.
So I know that you have a store here, and there's a couple stores, and then you have your other store in the corner.
Yeah.
And I believe someone stole from this store and had the audacity to come over and sell it to you at this store. Is that correct?
They tried to.
Or tried to, yes.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say the other one, which was funny. So remind me if I forget that.
Okay.
But I thought you were going to talk about. So I'm in my own world sometimes, right? Like I'm focused, doing my own thing. So I was walking from one store to another, and there was a guy, and he thought, because I walk pretty intently. Yeah. Like I'm like, I'm focused, and people are like, I'm going to give him a wide berth type thing. And so this guy thought I was coming after him.
Oh.
And so I'm walking, just as I'm doing it, he stops and he's kind of got a look on his face. And I'm like, I'm not processing what's going on yet. Well, then Ricky, who was running the other store as a volunteer, he's come running down the street saying, hey, and this guy is one-legged.
Oh, Ricky, right.
Yeah, Ricky's got one leg.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, Ricky.
Yeah.
Right? Well, he knew this guy had stolen something.
Oh.
So, and again, this is a rough area. These are gangbangers and everything else, right? So I'm already right there. And so Ricky kind of goes up and, you know, what are you going to do? Have tea? Sometimes you got to get in their face a little bit. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's a dance, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes you hug people and you should hit them. Sometimes you go in to kiss them and they back away. Sometimes, you know, it's a dance.
Right.
And so, it finally dawned on me. You know, I'm in like la la land, and I'm like, hey, you better give him that shirt back. And then now he's like, oh, I'm outnumbered, and what am I gonna do? You know. And lucky for him, he did that, because I would have went to the head gangbanger and said, this guy, which I had done before.
Yeah.
We had a gal actually
Right.
that was completely out of control.
Yeah.
So I'm telling my guy, they call him Scooby.
Right.
And I said, Scooby, I said, and I was trying to explain this gal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, she's wacky. She's got this, that, and whatever. And he goes, oh, Mary.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know her name. He goes, oh, I'll talk. She never came back to our store ever. Right? Because that's, you know, whatever he said to her.
Yeah.
You know, like my 8th grade stud kid, whatever, you know, whatever, however that played out. But tell me, so I wanted to share that with you, because that's where I thought you were going.
Right.
But what was the actual?
It was Mary. That's right. Mary had stolen from the store, walked over and tried to sell it at this store. So could you explain that?
I wasn't there that day,
okay.
but from what I heard, that there was, and Ricky doesn't play.
Yeah.
He's one-legged, but he doesn't play.
Yeah.
He's funny, dude. Like, he's strong. I mean, you know, he's able-bodied. I mean, you wouldn't think he is, but he's, you know, he's a sports guy. He's competitive. He's athletic. You know, he's smart. He's all that.
Right.
Right. He doesn't play either.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't that gal actually. The one you're talking about is a different gal.
Okay.
And I guess it was so weird, but I guess this guy was kind of this gal's pimp.
Okay.
A little bit,
Uh-huh.
right? Well, she stole from the store, and then there was a Mexican restaurant right next to our thrift store, and so he went over. Well, Ricky goes into the restaurant and is like, "Hey, you better," you know, right? He doesn't play around again. And so then this pimp guy or whatever, you know, he was like, you know, he could tell Ricky wasn't playing. He wasn't real happy. So he was like, okay, I'm sorry. You know, he reprimanded this gal and give it back, and you know, different things like that. But like I said, the other one you're talking about, when I went and talked to Scooby, we were real good to Scooby.
Yeah.
And he had a girlfriend, and we sold him stuff at a good price.
Yeah.
You know, he was helping out. We scratched each other's
Right.
back. But yeah, that was, I mean, there's a bunch of stories down there that are, you know, pretty interesting to hear about.
Sure.
But in the end, because we had systems, you know, we had a good mindset, we had systems, and we had good people, it was a home run. And so we didn't get into, you know, too much where we had to call the police or whatever. We just tried to deal with it the best that we could.
Gotcha.
If you need to contact Brett or Coach, please do so on his social media accounts, email, and or text. You can find that information in the description below. Again, please like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit the notification bell. Thanks, and we hope you enjoyed.
What up, Jesus?